Welcome to salsidoparanormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I'm continuing my review of the Twilight Zone TV series. As always, you can find all episodes of my show, along with links to social media and other ways to contact me at the podcast page, and that is salsidoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions or accounts of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. Thank you all for listening, whether you are here for the live streams on Discord, or if you listen to the podcast or YouTube feeds, or on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. There you can hear replays of 2 episodes of my show every night, at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right before Michael Strange and Troubled Minds Radio comes on. As always, I want to thank Michael Strange for having me on the network and putting all my shows up there. If you'd like to support my show, there are different ways to do that. You can always share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. You can find books I've written, paranormal fiction and nonfiction, over on Amazon, including my most recent release, Salsido Paranormal Experiences. You can sign up to the Patreon page where I release extra content whenever possible, and there's already several episodes there of true paranormal stories on the web, or you can just make one-time donations through PayPal. Support is never expected, but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows, from equipment to research materials to travel expenses in some cases. And I think that takes care of everything, so we can get back to this review. We are in Season 2 as of now, as far as the reviews of the shows. And so let me get back to this file here, or this page here I use as a sort of help to guide me through everything. That's not the page. That's the Word document from the previous 2 shows. That's not going to help me. All right, here we go. So this is episode 5, I believe. Let me see here. I lost my spot. So, anyway, this is episode, let me see here. Yeah, I believe it's 5 of, yep, there we go. Season 2, episode 5, there we go, of the show. And the title of this episode is, this TV episode is The Howling Man. So, this is talking about a post-World War I Central European city in 1919, and a man who was walking through a town. His name is David Ellington, and he gets lost in a storm. Excuse me. And let me see here. Take care of something real quick. One moment. Okay. Sorry about that. My nose is bothering me. Back to the page here. So he gets lost in this storm, and he sees an ancient castle, and goes there, and it appears to be the home of a monastic order, sort of a religious kind of place, as far as I can tell. He knocks on the door and asks for help, and he's at first told by the monk that answers the door that they don't allow visitors, and but Ellington continues to beg and ask for help, and this monk goes to speak to a person he calls Brother Jerome, while Ellington waits and hears of course, a howling, and so and it's coming from inside the castle, of course. The safest place in the middle of a storm is a place where there's howling. That's never a good sign. The monk returns, and when Ellington asks about the sound, the monk says it's just the wind. And the monk takes Ellington to meet Brother Jerome, who is the leader of this order of monks. And Ellington explains what's going on with him and how he got lost, and he's very weak, and he's been in the storm. And Brother Jerome tells him that there is no help to be had there. There's no room, there's no supplies, and Ellington has to go. And Ellington walks out and collapses in the hallway. Because again, he's been in this storm. He's been, apparently, if he's collapsing, then he must have been sick, or he got sick because of the rain. But when he wakes up, he hears howling, and he wanders around this room, or this hallway, and finds a door that is apparently to a cell. And in the cell, there's this man that claims he's been imprisoned unjustly by the monks, who he says are mad or crazy. And of course, he says he's been beaten by Brother Jerome using the staff that Brother Jerome carries. And but as Ellington is talking to this prisoner, Ellington is taken back to Brother Jerome, who tries to explain that the prisoner his words can't be believed. He's there for a good reason, and it's really none of Ellington's business. And again, tells Ellington to leave. So, and Ellington says, "Okay, I will leave," basically, but I'm going to head to the police. And Brother Jerome does not want this, so he tells Ellington that the prisoner in the cell there is the literal, apparently, or at least uses the full actual link here. So the biblical, or the very well known, you could say, the devil himself, and can only be contained by Brother Jerome's staff of truth. This is what he calls his staff. And he says that Jerome says that this devil had come to the village shortly after World War I to corrupt it. But of course, Brother Jerome used the staff to imprison him. And so this has led to there being relative peace in the world since then, because of course the root of all evil is captured in a cell at the time, according to this, again, fictional TV show episode here, just to remind everybody. And so Ellington pretends to believe all this, and but Brother Jerome is not convinced, and does allow Ellington to stay for the night, but he has to share a room with one of the other monks who is supposed to watch over him. So Ellington waits until his guard, essentially, falls asleep, and then goes leaves the room, goes down to the hallway, and sees that the door to the cell that is holding this man that he at this point believes is being held with no good reason, doesn't believe Brother Jerome's story. The only thing that's holding this door to this room shut is this staff that is holding this man there, that is with just out of reach of the man in the room. So Ellington removes the staff and frees the prisoner, and pins Ellington to the floor, with a wave of his hand, so displaying sort of telekinetic powers here. And as this prisoner walks away from Ellington, his shape starts to change, and he takes on the appearance of this very ancient kind of devil-like, everything you would think of, this figure, and then leaves the castle, and leaves it, of course, in a plume of smoke. And Brother Jerome arrives and explains that what Ellington has just done. So the show continues, sort of moves on through time a bit, and apparently the reason we've been seeing all this is Ellington has been telling the story to a maid in his house, and he says that ever since that experience he had, he's been hunting for this devil alone, and to atone for his mistake. And he's been doing so on this hunt throughout time, all throughout World War II and the Korean War and the development of nuclear weapons. So he's finally finally tracks down this figure, and he has finally imprisoned this being again that claims to be the devil, and he's captured him in a closet in his own home, in Ellington's own home, and of course he has the door barred or locked using a staff similar to Brother Jerome's. So again, you have to wonder, where did he get the staff? Is there a secret to the staff? Does it have power similar to what the first staff had? And how did Ellington get the staff or have the staff made? Things like that. So Ellington wants to return this being to this castle, and he warns the housekeeper and the staff in this house not to remove the staff in this door. And so, of course, the staff is the way it made there is can't believe what she's been hearing. But as soon as Ellington leaves to make arrangements to transfer this being from this doorway here, this closet here, she hears a howl from behind the door. And thinking it's some poor man that Ellington has locked up in the closet, she takes the staff away from the door and opens it. And that's where the episode ends. So what's amazing in a way, because if you look at the episode title the way I did, you think it's just going to be about a werewolf. You think of howling, you think of werewolf. And that's where my mind was going when I first saw the start of this episode. But so what I'm wondering is, I don't know, why was that an intentional misdirection to sort of take away from the whole impact of and possible controversy of this show having sort of this major religious tone to it in a way, in a sense? But then again, another way, it's not. I don't know. It's really complicated, this episode here. But it's also, the way I look at all these shows here is, at least to start with, just fiction. But it makes me wonder, and here's I guess you could say the paranormal aspect of all this is, you hear about throughout time, there's been stories of people that have been told to not to do something, or else bad things will happen. And all these stories throughout time, eventually, due to other circumstances, due to curiosity, due to things happening beyond the person's control that is supposed to be sort of watching over, at least for a brief time, this item or this place or this door or whatever, over, and all these stories in mythology and folklore and all that, the door is open, the jar is, of course, box or whatever, the whole thing with Pandora, which I don't know about that one because of all again, a lot of the mythology was not kind at all to women as far as all that. But just in general, whatever is supposed to be kept closed eventually is opened, and that is the source for a lot of, or all of, in some stories, the everything in the world that is bad happens because of this thing that should have remained closed that was then opened. So I guess you could say, in some people's minds, this episode of this TV show is a modern ultimate version of that kind of a story in a way. So again, as I always say, the acting was very well done, and the all the imagery and everything, the castle and everything looked amazing. I've been trying just to listen to these shows, but there are some where I do end up watching because I can't help it. But yeah, that was a neat one. So let's see if we can get through one more episode review here. We'll go on to let's see, it will be episode 6 of season 2. So, also, if you're looking for, and I wouldn't recommend this as far as if you don't want to any kind of spoilers for either watching the show or listening to me review the show. I've been using the various this Wikipedia page for these a guide for these shows, and they're on these pages for each episode. It has the link to the previous and the next episode in it. So that's a neat little feature there. If you just want to sort of quickly skim through all of these and check them out on your own. So anyway, getting on to the next episode here. This is called, let's see here, Eye of the Beholder, or also called The Private World of Darkness when it came out in 1962. So let's see here. This is episode 6 of season 2 of The Twilight Zone. So starts off with this main character here, Janet Tyler, has gone through a major surgery, and this is not the first time. It's actually the 11th of these surgeries, which is the maximum number of these surgeries that can legally be allowed by the state, in quotation marks here. So you don't know which government, which state, which nation, which time, which world, which place, whatever. And so, and all these procedures, these surgeries, have been, the purpose has been to allow, or to attempt to make her look normal. And her head, in the beginning of the show, you see that her head is completely bandaged. You can't see anything above her neck. And so her, and of everyone that's there, all the doctors and everything, this is a very well done episode. Again, the doctors keep commenting and the nurses keep commenting on how terrible she looked before, and how terrible it was that she was born the way she was born, basically. Now, this hospital, all the characters besides this woman, this Janet, all the other doctors and nurses, if you watch the show, you'll notice that all the other characters stick to the shadows of the rooms and the doorways and the hallways of the show. So you never quite see their faces clearly. And the surgery, this last surgery, is about to be revealed. The bandages are taken off, but before this is done, the doctor explains to her that this is their last attempt, and if she is still as disfigured, basically as they say she is, then she'll have to go to a place for other people like her. And this doctor, as he's excuse me, as he's going through this procedure and going through the waiting for enough time to pass to get rid of the bandages, he's sort of wondering about this whole system, about how things are done and why they're done the way they are, and he starts talking about this with one of the nurses, and she warns him not to go on any further, because that kind of talk is thought to be treason in this place. So the bandages are removed, and of course, when they're removed, you see a beautiful woman in the screen, and of course, the doctor and everyone else responds in the exact opposite way you would expect, in that they are terrified and they think that the operation, all these operations, have been a failure. And then it shows all the faces of the doctors and nurses, and they are all the ones that you would possibly describe as disfigured or having sort of grotesque, monstrous features on their faces. And Janet, who's terrified and doesn't want to go and live in this other place that is obviously not preferred by most people, where it's a place for people that apparently do not look normal. And again, in this world's version of normal, Janet tries to escape. And of course, this attempt fails. And as she's trying to escape, there are these this TV broadcast that is going on at the same time, and it's their leader. That's these people's leader, and he looks just like them. And he's talking all about the importance of basically conformity, of everyone and everything being the same. And so the show ends with a representative from this other area where all these these abnormal, supposedly, people are kept. It shows a man coming from this region to escort Janet back to that area, and they comment on the situation, and then they end up leaving, and that's basically where the episode ends. But it's very well done in that you start to suspect that there's something going on when all of the people that are seen in the show, you don't see them clearly, and then the reveal, of course, there a couple of reveals there are again just really well done. So I'd recommend that and this entire series, this entire show of the Twilight Zone to anyone, and very much reminded me in a way of the work of George Orwell, 1984 and Animal Farm and all those kinds of works. Tough reads in a way, but I think important, at least to read once. So, but that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all next time on Salsidoparanormal. Take care.